Okay, so overnight, this is set really nicely. So we now have a nice, firm, appropriately stiff text block with some beautiful raised bands. The boards are in good shape as well. So we're in a position where we can think about board attachment. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to remind myself by making some markings. This is the top. This is the front. So I know that this board goes facing like this, and the reason for that is these are almost level but not quite, and I'm going to be marking where I drill the holes, and I don't want to get the boards swapped around after I do the drilling. So I'm just going to adjust a little bit. I want to, it's probably going to be easier actually just to put the sort of tassels outside for a second here. I'm going to want the board to just sit snugly like this with just like an 1/8 of an inch overlap, both top and bottom. And what I've done on previous book restorations, you'll know, is I've sort of drilled 3 holes in a triangle and, threaded back, every sort of strand goes through all 3 holes. So you end up with this like bundle here that's really quite strong. If I do that with twine that's this thick, I'm going to end up with a proper little mound, and that's going to be quite noticeable. So I think instead what I'm going to do is separate them out, and what I'll probably do is do 6 holes for each of this, sort of one quite close to the edge, as close as I dare go, and one maybe 1/4 of an inch further back, such that from the underneath they can come through there, loop over, go back down there, stay underneath. So that's going to be my plan for how I'm going to do it. Now, at the outset, I actually used an extra piece of string like this to sort of tie together the sort of plaiting. What I'm going to have to do for each of these now is basically undo that, and in some cases I might just be able to pick it apart. In other cases it may be easier to use scissors to do it, like so. And what that's going to enable me to do is to just selectively unwind the plait back to its point of attachment to the text block where it's been glued, and I may need just to cut the old knot here just to free it. There we go. There's another one here. Obviously I'll have to do this for all of them. I want to get back just so the plaiting is basically free. Let's see if I can get this one loose. Nope, she's not going, so I'll have to just shave it with the scissors again just to get it free. There we go. All right, so that'll allow me just to unwind the plaiting back to there. So these can then be free to go to be threaded through the holes. So that's what I'm basically going to do. So it'll be sort of a 6 in the pattern of a 6 on a die, basically here, all the way up, undo these plaits back to the point of connection, and drill the boards and thread them. All right, so I have drilled the holes and threaded the boards. That's looking pretty good. So next step is I'm going to put some cardboard strips in here to I'll probably see if I can do a comb affair, half comb. So it comes down here, and then the strips go in like this. That's the usual thing to make sure that the leather we put on stays separate from this surface, which is obviously set with glue, which is soluble. We don't want to stick the leather directly to the spine anyway. The leather has been ordered. It's going to be a beautiful piece of mocha coloured goat leather. And for the first time, I'm going to be attempting to do a complete wrap. So this won't be a separate strip here. This will actually be a single piece of leather. So it's going to be really quite interesting. I'm going to see if I can die stamp and gilt some elements on it here, the name of the book, etc., before we put it on. So not without risk. It's certainly something that needs to be done right first time. But yeah, this book's coming on very nicely indeed. Okay, so I went ahead and did the combs for the book. I did quite generous sort of sections down here to cover the twine, which is quite extensive. And it's all sort of pinned in place and drying here. And that really is as far as we can take it at this point until the leather arrives, which is meant to be doing tomorrow. I think the fact that the leather is going to be over the whole surface as opposed to a rebacking is helpful, because that means that there'll just be a natural tension over everything. So we'll be able to put a nice brace around the leather to really bring out these raised bands. But I've got the sort of cardboard pinned down quite tightly so that the raised bands will have the maximum sort of profile available when we put the leather in situ. So this is about ready. I'm probably going to just trim that bit there. But yeah, that's the next step. Okay, so the leather is arriving in a few hours. That's really exciting. Overnight, these all adhered, and I did just one thing I did do was just to make sure that I released any adhesion of the cardboard to the spine, so that when the book opens up, it pulls away nicely, which it does. Obviously, we want that because we don't want to have a sort of a pivot point in the leather that will cause the leather to fail quickly along these edges. So now we're in a position to finalize what we're doing with this this twine, basically. So at the moment, there's a little bit of sort of back and forth play here with this, obviously because of the this twine here. So we need to tighten that up. So the first step is to sort of just shorten all these lengths. So I actually went through here and sort of nipped off all the lengths, and I'll be doing the same to the other side. The next thing I've been doing is just actually unraveling these lengths that we have left here. And the idea is, what I'm going to do is sort of glue these down in a way that's sort of splayed out. I don't want these to sort of be sort of lumpy underneath the paste down. So we're going to sort of spread them out like this and glue them down. And then this fabric is going to come over and just be glued completely down like this. And what that'll do is that'll eliminate any back and forth play here, and obviously just create a nice surface. Eventually, obviously, there will be a paste down over all of this, so and we'll be able to put some flies here as well. But that's really the next step. So we're going to be sort of unraveling this, gluing them down, gluing this fabric down, and then really this book will be ready to receive the leather. Okay, here we go. good opportunity just to also get some glue into any weaknesses that were in the board itself, maybe when there was drilling holes or whatever, a little bit of, the board got a little fractured. Good opportunity just to force some glue in there and over. Like this. And go on with a bit of glue on top as well. Now, obviously I want to be really careful here that I don't get any glue on the title page. So what I'm actually going to do is put a nice big sheet of kitchen parchment paper, not real parchment, between these two, so that and I should point out, as I'm actually holding this board, I'm pushing it a little bit this way because I want this to have enough tension in it as I paste it down so that it stops that sort of side-to-side play that we were seeing earlier. I think that's pretty well there. Like that. So I'm now going to have to, again, I'm just pushing it just to make sure that it I don't want to take up any slack in the fabric where I can, like that. There we are. Really nice and flat and taut. The fabric won't be doing this on its own. It'll also have the leather, the paste down and everything else taking up that slack, but just for now I need the fabric to be stepping up. So okay, that's good. Now over she goes. I'm pushing forward as I close it and pushing this paper in. Good. Now I'm in a position to turn the book upside down and do the other side. Okay, so the leather has arrived. It's a really beautiful goat skin, and it's actually quite thin. So it's paired sort of very finely, beautiful and soft. Has a lovely smell to it as well, which unfortunately I can't convey through the video. What I've done is there's a good sort of central usable rectangle in this piece, and I would recommend, if you ever buy this kind of leather online, get the vendor to actually send you pictures so that you can, because obviously it's a natural product, it'll be in irregular shape, and you want to make sure that you've got the right usable rectangle for the purpose. And so this one is sufficient in length for what we want. It is a little wider though, so that gives us the opportunity to trim off a section here, which I've done. which is useful because I've had this guy sit on my shelves now, for now, oh dear, a year, I guess. This is a copy of Holy State by Thomas Fuller, 1648, this particular edition. The covers have come detached, both of them. So there's a need to do a rebacking, and the really nice thing about this is we have all of the components we need to actually do it to look almost identical to how it was. So this leather here is actually broad enough because it can actually serve as a sort of a new spine there. Obviously we've got plenty spare here that we could use for the corners, and this marble paper is actually very, very similar to the marble paper that I used to restore this book some time ago. So we've got all the components we need to get this book back into this sort of shape, which would be really quite nice. And this book's just a little bit too tall for me to use the usual bindings that I have in my box downstairs. So having this bit of leather is really really great. This is, you know, exactly what we need. So this is a bit of really good news. So this piece we'll keep that to one side. So let's have a look. So this hopefully has now just about dried. Yeah, there we go. That's nice. So we've got this nice sort of glued affair here. So that's now holding this board quite nicely there. Same kind of thing here. We'll just peel this guy off. There we go. So now we are in a position to do a complete wrap of this book with a virgin piece of beautiful goatskin leather. And what I'm going to attempt in the next video is to see if I can actually die stamp in this one of these compartments. Make sure I got this the right way up. Yes. Probably in this compartment right here. Maybe this one. Maybe this one's better. It's a little larger. I'm going to see if I can actually die stamp the name of the book in the leather before doing the wrap, and then we'll have the book named in gilt, which will be really very nice. So that's the next video. So the book is now ready for its for showtime.